cross. Even Saint Therese, the little flower, wrote in her autobiography about a vision she had of Mary, the Mother of God, who assured Therese that she was also Therese's mother. For whatever reason, I was fascinated by these visionaries and saints, and was both consoled and frightened by them. They consoled me with their assurance that God does speak to some of us in a special way. And I was frightened because they seemed to suffer so much, becoming images of Christ on the cross. What were they all about, I wondered? And were they so special that we should never think of imitating them? These questions haunted me, even when I no longer read the mystics in college and in the years preceding my ordination to the priesthood. I knew enough by then to know that true mystics are special persons chosen by God to communicate His ways to us, and we can't, by our own will, become a mystic or a visionary. We can live the Christian sacramental life intensely. We can become a saint by our heroic living of the gospel. But we can't make God give us the special gift that enables us to see what we believe without seeing. And so I began to read the mystics again, to try and understand who the mystics are and what they have to say to us today. The result of these readings was the book Mystics, 10 Who Show Us the Ways of God, upon which these talks are based. And this is some of what I have learned. Some years ago, when I was on my way to the ecumenical community of Thésée in France, I was supposed to get off the train in Mâcon, but I missed my stop and I ended up in Dijon, where they have that wonderful Dijon mustard, and I had to stay there overnight before I could take the train back to Mâcon the next day. And that evening, while I was sitting in a little restaurant eating my mustard, I looked up and there was someone having a hard time getting through the door. And the maitre d' went over to the door and opened it up, and through the door came a young man, very physically challenged, in a wheelchair, and pushing him was a young woman in just about the same shape. And everyone, of course, was embarrassed. They didn't want to stare, and everyone looked down at their meal. But the maitre d' brought them right to the center of the restaurant at a little table and sat them down, and they were just beaming. They were smiling. They were having trouble trying to eat, and they were spilling things, but they were just smiling. And pretty soon everyone in the restaurant was smiling and laughing. And I called the maitre d' over and I said, "What is happening here?" And he said, "Well, this young couple are on their honeymoon." I was so touched by that, because I knew that neither one of them thought they were lovable, that someone could love them. And then this other person comes into my life, and I never see again my brokenness. I only see the love in the other's eyes. It draws me out of myself. And this became a symbol to me of what happens when God comes into one's life in a very powerful way. If Jesus comes to me and I am a mystic, I'm so overwhelmed that I only see the love in Jesus' eyes, and I'm drawn out of myself, and I'm utterly changed. Which leads me